Hello guys, I'm Bethany and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here and I'm so excited because it's time for a wrap up. We're going to talk about all the books that I read in December. Also, happy 2023. That's crazy. It's a new year. I hope you've had a great New Year celebration and that you're excited for the new year. It's going to be a great time. I have so many videos planned. I literally feel like I have so many ideas to film that I don't have time to film them all. So the next couple months of content is gonna be so fun. So anyways, I thought I would film my December wrap up before I filmed my favorites from 2022, but it is coming at my top 10 for 2022 and then all the books I read in 2022. So those videos are coming, but I wanted to do a December wrap up first so we can talk about all the books that I read in December. I do have to say, well, I'm saying this, but the amount of books I read doesn't really make sense to me saying this, but I was in a book slump a very good amount of time in December, like half the month. Honestly, until Christmas, I was in a book slump, and you might be like, how? Because I read 12 books, but I will tell you how later on. So first, I'm gonna tell you about the books that I read up until Christmas, and tell you how few books that was, and then all the books that I read after Christmas in the end of December. Like the last week of December, I read all these books, which is kind of insane. So I'm very excited. It's a very good month. I have so many good books here, and let's just get into it. So first, I read a couple books on my Kindle. So I read The 12 Holidays by Emma St. Clair. It's like a little novella, like holiday novella. And honestly, I couldn't tell you one thing about this book. Can't remember what it was about. All I wrote is that I really wish it was a full book because I feel like the concept would have been more fun and more developed if it was longer. It's like Friends or Lovers, where these two friends like each other, they've never said anything, and then the guy like sets up 12 dates for them, and like she finds out he likes her. I don't really know, but I wish it was more developed and like longer because I feel like it was so short that like everything happened quick. And I understand it's a novella, like that happens, but I feel like the novellas that I've read previously were really good and like I was happy with it, but this I felt like it was so condensed. I wish they were just longer, you know? I'm gonna try to stop talking so much at each review. I'm like, if I don't like the book, I'm just gonna say that and to move on. I'm also trying in 2023 to be more strict with my ratings because I feel like I give too high of ratings even if I don't really like the book, and we're gonna stop that. So honestly, I gave this like 3 stars, but I don't remember a single thing about it. It was a maybe 2.5 stars, honestly. Like I feel like I'm trying to get better at my ratings. Like 5, loved it, won't stop raving about it. 4, loved it, just not a 5-star. 3, average, really enjoyed it, but nothing memorable. 2 is there's a few things that I liked about it, and then 1 is there's no redeemable qualities at all in the book at all. So maybe a 2.5, 3, like there's nothing about it I remember. So anyways, let's move on. Next I read Thrive by Kristen Becker Ritchie, which is the 6th book. Yeah, the 6th book in the Addicted/Calloway Sister series, and I did really enjoy this book. I gave it a 4.25, but honestly, I might like lower that, I don't really know. It was good. I mean, the series is so good, I really loved it, but I honestly was kind of disappointed because I was waiting on a specific moment to happen in the end of the book that happened in Hot House Flower. If you don't know, there's the Addicted series and then the Calloway Sister series, and you can read them intertwined, and so you read the first 3 books in the Addicted series, and then you read the first 2 books in the Calloway Sister series, and then you read the next 2 books of the Addicted series, or the last 2 books. So in Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, they are told from Daisy, Reich, Connor, and Rose's point of view, and then Thrive is basically those 2 books from Lily and Lo's point of view. And so there's something that happens in Hot House Flower that I was really excited to read from Lily and Lo's point of view, but it was kind of disappointing. Like I liked it, but it was like, I don't know, I was just disappointed. I think because I had too high expectations going into it, I was like, that's all. I don't know. I feel like everyone's gonna hate me because everyone loves that book, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was good, but it was just like not as good as I was hoping. But I think the character development is so good compared to the first book. Like they've come so far. And then I also I love the bit of Christmas at the end of this book. So love that. Now we are getting into me trying to get out of my reading slump, and the first step was to reread one of my favorite books. So I reread Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. You know how I feel about this book. It's so good. Like I love this book so much. It's a second chance romance set in New York City. They go to college together, and then 15 years go by, they don't see each other, they don't speak, and then they see each other. He sees her on a train, and then, you know, that kind of happens, but it's so good. I love this book so much, and it was just as good the 3rd time I read it, because this is the 3rd time I've read it. I read it twice in 2020, and then obviously just read it in 2022. I just love this book so much, and it just gives me like nostalgic feelings of like New York City in the 1900s, the 90s, like early 2000s, going to college in New York City, living in New York City, falling in love in New York City, like everything about it I just loved so much. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's funny because I knew it happened, obviously, because I've read it twice, but I couldn't put it down. Like, I just love it so much. So if you need a book to read and you want to love it, you should read this one because it's literally one of my favorites of all time. So good. Okay, then I read Where Time Stands Still. I literally didn't even write the author, by N.S. Perkins. That's who it's by. And I bawled my eyes out during this book. I filmed me reading it on my like reading slump vlog. I filmed a reading vlog of me in a reading slump trying to get out of it, and it should be up before this video. So you can see me bawl my eyes out reading this book. I loved it so much. I thought it was so good. It's like this girl who is like a lawyer, I'm pretty sure, and she's working for this family, and the parent's son she actually has met before one time in a bar. There's also some other stuff that I don't want to give too much away, but I loved Aaron. He was literally the sweetest angel ever. Obsessed with him. He's like the cinnamon roll sweetest book boyfriend. That's what I wrote. The Found Family was so good. It's more of a romance, like just set around Christmas, because it is a technically like not really a holiday romance. It is around Christmas, but you could really read it any time of year because Christmas is kind of like skimmed over. It's not really a holiday book at all. It's more just like a romance, and then Christmas happens and New Year's happens, but like, you know, it's not really set in the holidays. So I really recommend reading it now. And the end is like a happy ending, even though I bawled my eyes out. It is a happy ending and I highly recommend it. It was so good, but it is emotional, I have to say. I gave it 5 stars because I loved it so much. And then all those books I just told you, 4 books I read up until Christmas Eve. So the next books I read literally the next week, like Christmas Eve, from Christmas Eve to New Year's, I read all these books. I don't know how, but let's continue. Okay, so on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Ethan got this for me for our like Christmas Eve book swap, and I love this book so much. It was so cute, so cute. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting to say spice level. Hold that thought. The 12 Holidays, pretty sure it's closed door, but it's so short, you know. Thrive, definitely spicy. Before We Were Strangers has spice. Where Time Stands Still also has spice. Anyways, but The Bodyguard is closed door, which I really loved. It was so cute. So basically it's about this girl who is a bodyguard, and she is like protecting this big celebrity, but his family doesn't know about it, and so she's pretending to be his girlfriend, so it's like a fake dating situation. But I loved it so much. It was so cute, so good. Literally flew through it. I wanted to finish it very quickly because I just want to know what happened. I do wish we got more of Jack and Hannah together. Is that what I wrote? Yeah, I wish we got more of Jack and Hannah together. I feel like at the end we didn't get very much of them together, which I wanted a little bit more sweet moments once they like got together. And then I wish we got Jack's point of view because it's only from Hannah's point of view, which, you know, I just love adult POV moment. So overall I did love this. I gave it a 4.5 stars, and I highly recommend it. Like if you were looking for a good romance, like fluffy, great time, closed door, you should read this. It's so good. Also, I didn't acknowledge the fact that it's very gloomy today because it's supposed to tornado. That's literally not a word. There's supposed to be tornadoes today, so that's one's a little dark outside, but I wanted to film this anyways. Alrighty, so we are now onto the book. I feel like literally what happened to the sun? It like moved way over here. Okay, anyways, we're on to the book of the books that I read this month, and you know, I don't really know how this happened, but I read all of these. We're gonna go through them, but obviously I can't really tell you much about them because they're in a series. This is the Shatter Me series. I got it for Christmas. I read the Shatter Me first book, which is called Shatter Me, in November, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I asked for the rest of the books for Christmas. I got them, and then I couldn't stop reading them. So basically the Shatter Me series is about this girl named Juliet. She is locked away in a mental asylum because she has lethal touch. So when she touches someone, she kills them, or she can kill them. And it kind of goes from there, but where you are at the beginning of the series to where you're at the end, completely different spectrum. So much happens. They go through so much, these characters, and there's just a lot that happens, but that's kind of the premise without giving anything away. But I highly recommend it. Literally obsessed with the series. I can't stop thinking about it. I did finish it except the last novella, but I finished that in 2023. I read the last novella, or the second to last novella, and the last book in 2023. So you will see that in my January wrap up, but I will talk about the ones I read in 2022. So first, I read Unravel Me, which is the second book, obviously. Love this. I need to look at my ratings because honestly, all my descriptions of these, like what I thought, I literally just put I loved it. So I gave this a 4.5 stars. I said this book was so good. Once you get like 200 pages in, you can't put it down. So like the first couple hundred pages are kind of like not building up, but like, you know, setting the scene, what's going on, like not much action is happening, if you know what I mean. But the last like 300 pages or whatever are so good. I flew through it, but I really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars. And this book is when you really start to like see Warner, and I love Warner. I love him so much. Okay. Whew, that one was so good. I can't give you too much about it because then I'll ruin the book, you know? So next I read the second novella in this book, which is Fracture Me. And this is told from Adam's point of view, and I just gave it a 4 star because, or I didn't even rate it. But I'd probably give it like a 3-4 star because it's just like a little novella from a different character's point of view, because this book is told from just Juliet's point of view. As you get farther into the series, more point of views are in each book, which I really enjoy. I love seeing other people's point of views. But this one specifically, the novella in this, Fracture Me, was from Adam's point of view, and I really enjoyed it. I love that we got to see like the end of Unravel Me, but what happens from Adam's point of view, because Juliet, like obviously she's not there for it, so we get the point of view of what happens that she's not there for. So loved that. And then I read Ignite Me, which is my favorite book in the series. I'm obsessed. I'm also obsessed with the cover. I feel like it's so cute, like this green blue situation I'm obsessed with. This one's my favorite of the whole series. I haven't read the last novella, so that could be my favorite, but so far it's this one. It's so good. I feel like so much happens in this book, and you really get some romance. You get to see Warner some more, and I love him so much. I love him so much. Obsessed with him. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great time. Also, if you didn't know, this was originally going to be just a trilogy, but she kept writing the books, and some people say they wish it stayed as a trilogy. Literally, I can't speak. Some people say that they wished it stayed as a trilogy, but honestly, I'm really glad it continued, because I feel like this is a great ending, but I feel like there's so many things that you don't know that you get to find out because she continued the series, you know what I mean? So this is technically the last book if she ended it, but she continued the series. And anyways, this is my favorite. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it so much. Like, oh, this one was so good. And I've seen multiple people on my bookstagram say, like, in their top books of the year, this is one of them, and I agree. I shouldn't say that because you haven't seen my top 10 yet. Anyways, let's see. What did I read next? Okay. Literally, I put on Ignite Me the best one so far. That's all I put. Okay. Next, I read Restore Me, which was very good. I gave it 4 stars. It was like not slow. I definitely don't think it was slow, but the end was insane. Like, what in the world? I was shook at the end of this. And it makes you want to start the next book very quickly because it was insane. I did start tabbing this one, and I wish I would have tabbed Ignite Me because that would have been a great time, but I didn't because I was reading it so fast. But I did tab a few things in Restore Me, but I did really enjoy this. I feel like you learn a lot more about like past situations in this book. Let's see, we're almost done, guys. Next, I read Shadow Me, which is in this like little bind up, and it's from Kenji's point of view. I'm trying to remember what happens in this. Oh yeah, you see more descriptions of like what happened at the end of Destroy Me from Kenji's point of view that Juliet wasn't there for, or that she was there for. You just see a different person's perspective. And then you also get a little romance in this book, which I really enjoyed. Love that. And then we have Defy Me, which I gave 4.25, I think. Literally, that's what I wrote. The thing about this book is the first half was kind of rough to get through because it was just like, I can't give anything away. I'm not gonna give anything away, but if the first half was a little rough to get through, there's just a lot going on. But the second half, clearly, if you can see my tabs where they start, once they start, the second half is so good. If I had to pick, my favorite is Ignite Me and the end of Defy Me because I loved the end of this book. It was so good and so cute. The romance, the action, incredible. Loved it. Highly recommend all of the series. Let's see what I put. Oh my gosh, I literally forgot one book that I read. Oh, hi. Knocking over. Let me get it. Literally forgot about it, but it's right here. Anyways, okay, so I'm interrupting this video to insert this clip because I forgot to mention the spice level and things like that of the Shatter Me series. So it is YA, so that means there's no spice, but honestly I feel like this is more closed door than no spice. Like if I'm thinking like The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, that is very like no spice, you know, but this I feel like is more closed door. There are some more insinuating of my dog's drinking water. there's more insinuating of spicy scenes in this book, and I also felt like the action, there's a little bit more, not gruesome because that's a bit dramatic. I feel like it's just a little bit harder to read in some parts, and it kind of, I feel like it's YA, and then a little bit above that is the Shatter Me series. It is YA. Obviously that's what it is marketed towards, but I just want to say that the spice is like more closed door than no spice, and that there are some like, not graphic, it's really not graphic because it's YA, but just like scenes like that where the descriptions are a little bit like heavier than YA in the actions and things like that, because it is like a dystopian society, so some weird stuff goes down. So I just want to say that. I said it in my video about Shatter Me that I'm gonna say disclaimer, like a spoiler warning. If you don't want a spoiler, I'm going to put a timestamp or whatever on the screen so you can see it through this, but I feel like child abuse and torture is like a couple of things that are in the book that are pretty descriptive. So if you don't want to read that, honestly I'd still recommend the series because I loved it so much, but there are that in the book that you might want to skip over. Even though it is YA, there are those like descriptions that are pretty detailed. So I just wanted to say that. And the spice scenes are like more closed door. Like you don't really see it, but it is definitely not no spice, if you know what I'm saying. So anyways, I just want to insert that here because I forgot to say that when I originally filmed this video. So anyways, that's all. And then I read this Devo. This is the last book I finished it on the last day of the month. This is Come Let Us Adore Him by Paul David Tripp. It is a daily Advent devotional. It goes through the entire month of December. Really enjoyed this. I would give it a 4 stars, I think. This is the second time I've read it, but I also don't know if I would remember anything that I read. You know what I mean? Like you read a book and you just don't remember anything. You don't retain any information. I feel like I read this and didn't retain anything. Obviously, like I feel like it was really good and really great reminder for the holiday season, but then sometimes I would just read it and like just forget what I was reading because I was like not paying attention, which is not good. That's my fault. But I do really recommend it. Like if you need a good holiday Advent Devo for this December, I do recommend it. I thought it was good. It's the second time I've read it. Highly enjoyed it. So anyways, that's all the books that I read in December. It was a great month once I got over my little hump of my reading slump, and I am so happy that I read the Shatter Me series this month. It was so good. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe. I post honestly, don't really have a schedule right now. I think I'm gonna post like 3 times this week because I have so many videos to film and like to post. So anyways, hope you enjoyed. You can follow me on my Instagram and my Bookstagram. If you want all the Bookstagram content, if you like the book content here, you'll love my Bookstagram because I literally post all the time over there. It's a great time. I'm highly enjoying it myself over there. And I plan to do more content, all kinds of fun stuff over there in the new year. It is the new year. This year. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I read in December, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.